Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet right here on Metal Mesiah Radio. Tonight, I have a very special guest with us. I have Dave Davidson of Revocation. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Thanks for having me.
So, Dave, the band under the name Revocation has been around now for a decade. Now, your first release coming out in 2006 as an EP, and your new one coming out in a little over a week. How has Revocation evolved over the years?
I think we've gotten better as songwriters over the years. We've paid more attention to honing in on what the vibe of our sound is and what we want it to be. We certainly haven't been strangers to experimentation with each record, and I think that's sort of helped us further develop and fine-tune our sound. But I would say overall we've gotten better at just sort of getting to the heart of our sound, and it's certainly a diverse sound with a lot of different elements, but I think on the newest record you can sort of kind of hear a culmination of all of that we've spent working on for the last decade.
And so Ash Pearson of 3 Inches of Blood comes in last year to replace the only other original member beside yourself in the band, Phil Cohn. Now, I mean, after all these years with Phil as your drummer and bandmate, was it a little, I don't know what the word is, like disheartening or something to see him go? Yeah,
it was tough, but it's just sort of the nature of the beast and of the industry. I mean, there's the one constant in life is change, right? So it was tough to see him go, but we wish him the best, and we were very, very lucky to have Ash come in and fill his shoes, and it was just sort of one of those weird things where everything just sort of worked out. As Phil was departing, Ash's old band, 3 Inches of Blood, they were in the process of basically, I guess they basically disbanded right around that same time. Mm-hmm. So he was sort of looking for a gig. We were looking for a drummer. He had filled in for us before on tour, and we knew that he could really deliver the goods. So we hit him up, and he was the first person that we offered the gig to. And he thankfully he took it, and he's been a great fit.
And I was going to say, too, you guys are about to release your second album off of Metal Blade Records, Great Is Our Sin. The first one for Ash is your drummer. So what did he bring to this album?
Well, Ash is an incredible drummer. He's got a crazy technical ability. He can play all the thrash beats and death metal blast beats and whatnot. He's got great foot technique. So all of those bases were covered. But he also grew up listening to bands like Rush and bands like Frank Zappa and stuff like that. So he brings a fusion progressive element to our sound that I think really, really fits with our music, especially because we continue to kind of push our boundaries and bring in some other elements that maybe you wouldn't normally associate with like a death metal band sound. And he can play them all with real conviction, right? So it's not like, oh, that's cute. It's like a death metal drummer trying to play this type of beat. I mean, he really owns it. So it's great having a drummer who can come in and maintain our sound and deliver all the old material and with all the technical flair, but also bring in some of his own musical tastes and elements to our sound just to further, I guess, expand our boundaries.
And okay, so let's talk about the album a little bit more now. And I was just going to say, because you are the guitarist, you are the vocalist, you write the lyrics, how do you approach an album writing both lyrics and guitar? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, do you write the guitar parts first, or how do you approach that?
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but I'm good with time management, and I can generally kind of sort of envision what I want the lyrics to sound like. I definitely write the music first, right? So everything starts with the riff for me, and then I just kind of build it out from there, putting different riffs together. Like, okay, now I'm forming different sections of songs. Like, here's like a riff A, B, and C. This could be like a verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and I start to develop the structure from there. Then once the song is close to being done, then I start to think about, okay, what's the lyrical content? What is this song? It's hard to describe exactly. It's just sort of this vibe that I feel for like, okay, this song is telling me this, and this is what's the angle I'm going to go for this number, or on this song I'm getting this particular vibe, and I'm going to write the lyrics about this topic that I'm thinking about. So I have a general idea of like the topics that I want to write about, and then I kind of let the music inform me of what each topic should go with particular song. And it's just sort of hard to describe. It's just more of an intuitive type of thing.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, let's talk a little more about the album. How does the title of the album reflect the content?
Well, this is our first concept record to date, and I sort of used the title of the record as a lens through which to view human history dating back to like the Middle Ages all the way up to present day. So it's about the sins of man as we've progressed through different societies. So, for example, I take a look back at like public executions in medieval times, or the conflict between religion and science in the time of Copernicus, and see how that could maybe even be reflected in today's modern society, where we still are having conflicts between religion and science. I mean, I can think of stem cell research as one sort of controversial research method that is being impeded by the religious right for religious views or whatever. And then leading up to just more modern struggles that are facing the modern world, corruption in politics, sort of environmental climate change, and the damages to the environment that corporations and various agencies are wreaking havoc. So there's so many different topics that I think you could fit with this "Great Is Our Sin" theme that I tried to explore with the record.
And I was going to say, with topics like that, you could have probably had like a 50-track album.
Yeah, I had to narrow it down for sure. But yeah, I sort of picked the topics that were most pressing to me, and like I said, I used that theme of "Great Is Our Sin" as sort of the lens to view history.
And then, how did you guys go about writing and practicing when you're like all over the freaking place, as far as where you guys all live?
It took a lot of planning, a lot of preparation. We had to just make the most of our practice time. Ash is really good about recording his ideas, so he'll come in with a GoPro and he'll film the practices. He'll film me playing certain riffs, or he'll film himself playing a drum beat slow and then at tempo, and then he can kind of see like what the kinks he needs to work out are when he goes back to his own practice room in Vancouver. We also do a lot of stuff over Skype, so we would just kind of get together and bounce ideas off of each other back and forth, just through the internet. So I'd play him a riff over my computer, and he'd have a drum practice pad, and he'd play a beat he was thinking over that. And luckily, both of us are really on the same page in terms of just our general feel, and also how we can talk about music. So he's the language I can use is language that he totally understands. So like I might be like, the drum beat here, you need to like it's on like the and of 3, or I want the beat to be on 2 and 4 as opposed to 1 and 3. So he totally understands where I'm coming from when I'm describing those types of things verbally, and he can just play it right back to me, or if not right on the spot, he at least has the tools to work on stuff on his own. And then by the time we get together the next time, or the next Skype session we have, the ideas are much more fleshed out.
And now you guys recorded this one again with Zeus. Is there any particular reason why you went back to him for this album?
Yeah, I mean, we just love the way Deathless sounded. I think he did a great job on Deathless. He did a great job with the Terror to Genesis EP that he recorded, and we just have a fun time working with him. So we knew we had to deliver a great follow-up, because this is it's our 6th full length, but it's our sophomore record for Metal Blade.
Right.
And yeah, we just wanted to work with a guy who we really love the sound he could achieve, and the work environment that he brings to the table.
And what can you tell us about this album musically compared to some of your past releases?
It's probably our most dynamic yet. It's got our slowest song that we've ever recorded, which is a little bit different because we're usually known as being like, a faster death thrash band, right? So it's kind of cool to have a slower tempo song. But it also is our fastest song that we've ever done. So if you want to get your dose of just blistering death thrash, that's definitely on there as well. So tempo is really varied. There's different atmospheric parts on the record that we haven't done before, even just sort of some of the vocal melodies that I've actually sung on the record, I think are unique and further expand our sound. So it's just a really, really varied record in our catalog, and I think it's also, at the same time, maybe our most dark material yet, some of our weirdest materials that we've ever put out. So that's kind of cool.
Now, you had mentioned in the past that Marty Friedman has always been an influence of yours, and now he's a guest on your album. So how did that all come about?
Well, I had worked with him previously on his album, Inferno, so he had contacted me. He wanted to co-write a song, and I had a blast working with him. He really let me do my own thing. He even was like, hey, how about you write some lyrics and do vocals on this song? So he let me do my own vocal style. And like I said, it was just a really fun time to work with him, and a real honor to be a part of his album. So I knew that I wanted to have him on our record. And I hit him up, sent him an email. He was available, sent him over the track, and I remember getting the files, and we were in the studio, and Zeus and I were just looking at each other, getting goosebumps. Couldn't believe that Marty Friedman's actually on the record. So we were really, really privileged and stoked to have him be a part of that.
And let's talk a little bit about the album artwork, because you got a lot going on that cover. Who's the artist, and what does the cover art depict?
So the artist is Tom Strom. He's a close personal friend of mine. We've got a very close art connection because he does all my tattoos. Mm-hmm. So I've spent many an hour getting needled by him and talking about art, and we just are on the same page with a lot of similar artists that we like, and he's turned me on to a few different artists that are now some of my favorites. So we've got a great connection. He's also a huge death metal fan. Cannibal Corpse is his favorite band of all time. So we hit it off on both musical level and also on a visual arts level, which is really cool. And I'm very happy that I can call him a close friend rather than just someone who just does my tattoos. So he did the Deathless album art, and I was really, really stoked how that came out. So we knew we wanted to work with him again for the Great As Our Sin album cover. And since it was a concept album, Tom is really great with symbolism. Mm-hmm. So I sent him over the lyrics. I told him the general concept of the record, and he looked at the album titles, the song titles. I just gave him as much information as I possibly could, and we had about an hour-long Skype conversation of what I wanted the general flow of the album to be. So first and foremost, our record is a triptych. So rather than it just being sort of one image of the cover, it folds out. So there's a 3-panel image that really sort of tells the story. And he crammed as much of the imagery from the lyrics into the art as possible. And I think it really created this total package. So I feel like the new record is an entire artistic statement rather than sort of the music, and then the artwork just maybe happens to go along or kind of gives a little bit of a vibe of the music. I mean, it really I think captures the mood of the record and tells a story. There's some interesting things that happened along the way. So there was an artist named Hieronymus Bosch, very old artist. He was sort of you could argue, one of the first sort of symbolist painters before symbolism was even a thing. And I said, I'm really inspired by Bosch, and a Bosch-inspired piece. Oh, that's so weird. I was just at the Bosch Museum in the Netherlands a few weeks ago, and I've been wanting to do a Bosch-inspired piece. Had this telepathic connection on that. And just watching the album art come to life and seeing how he took different elements of the lyrics and now seeing them visually represented as I was getting sketches and stuff like that, it was really, really cool to see it come to life, because Tom's great about recording his process all the way through. So he'll send sketches and updates and here's the coloring and this and that. So we saw a good amount of progress reports as it was going along. And I actually just recently interviewed Tom, my first time doing an interview ever, I believe. So that'll be going live somewhere. I think it's kind of preparing on Invisible Oranges or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool to kind of pick his brain about the album art. So that'll be up in maybe a week or two. So
and you could just
checking that out.
You could just kind of stare at that album art for a good 5 minutes and see something different every time you look at it. So you said that it's going to fold out into the three, like a trifold?
Yeah, it'll be a triptych. So there's three three panels to it.
Yep.
But the album cover is the main image, and if you buy the record or whatever, it's the whole thing folds out.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is just something extra special, I think, for our fans, people that are going to pick up the actual physical copy. It's nice to
see all that extra art in there. Boy, I thought there was plenty of art on there. I could just imagine the whole thing folded out. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, and the vinyl, I just got in some vinyl the other day, and there just wasn't enough room on the actual, because it just sort of folds out into two halves. On the insert of the vinyl is a gigantic poster with the whole artwork, so
oh, nice.
Getting giddy just looking at that. I'm like, oh man, I can really see all the details now. So yeah, he was just a great artist to work with, and like I said, he's a good buddy of mine, and I was just really stoked on how it came out.
Yeah, it's really cool. Now, you guys pre-released a song and lyric video for Crumbling Imperium. Any reason why you chose this particular song to pre-release like that?
Well, of the three songs that we released, we wanted to pick different songs that showed different sides of the album. And in my opinion, I think every song has its own personality, but we were like, all right, let's come out the gate with Communion, like blisteringly fast, death thrash song. Then let's come out with Monolithic Ignorance, because that's got some sort of melodic vocals. It's got some weird chord structures, an interesting solo. And then Crumbling Imperium, just in terms of the verse in that song, I mean, we did something that we never really did before with these weird chords with the bass line underneath it. We just wanted to show different sides of the record. So it's like, hey, you're not going to just get the same song over and over again. Every single song has its own personality, but it all fits together in a really cohesive way. So we wanted to just kind of give a sampling to our fans of what they can kind of expect from this record. And I guess that's just expect the unexpected.
There you go. Now, you also did a little making of the album video as well. Now, why did you guys feel like you were in the mood to do that?
Well, we've done that, I think, on basically every record as far as a little making of thing. And it's just another way of enticing people with some behind-the-scenes stuff. I think it's cool. As a fan myself, I like when bands do that. It's cool to see the studio environment that they are in, see some of the tracking process, and it just sort of makes you feel like a little bit more invested in the record, and you can be kind of a fly on the wall and just see what went into the creation of a particular record.
Well, that's why I like to watch it too. I thought it was kind of interesting too, because everybody was mentioning Ash, because they're like, you guys didn't know what to expect either, and I thought that was kind of cool, because that's what everybody else was thinking, the same thing, so that you guys were kind of thinking that a little bit too was kind of cool as well,
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to have a guy fill in and play old songs, but it's a totally another thing to write with someone and come up with original stuff. So, it was pretty early on into the process. Everything was just gelling, and we were like, okay, this is going to be pretty sweet.
And it was fun to watch, too. Now, have you guys played any of these songs live yet?
No. The first, the first date of Summer Slaughter when we'll be premiering the new stuff.
And then you'll be playing plenty of it throughout the year.
Yeah, for sure.
And what formats? Now, you said it's going to be in vinyl and CD?
Yeah, vinyl, CD, you can get it on iTunes. I don't think it's coming out on like cassette or anything like that, although I've seen certain bands now. It's funny, like the different mediums that are making a comeback, like, oh yeah, we made cassettes. Like, we can still make those. But, it's definitely some cool formats, and especially with the vinyl, like there's the regular standard black vinyl, but there's like a cool marbled orange limited edition one, and there's a cool it's like a weird, like kind of marbled purple that kind of mimics some of the creatures that Tom drew for the album art.
Oh,
so
cool.
Even down to like just the color of the vinyl, I spent about like an hour just going through the different color combinations on this vinyl website. They're like, all right, Dave, like, pick whatever you want for like a couple alternate colors. And I'm like, okay, this color kind of goes with the sunset, and this color goes with this weird worm monster over here. So I try to tie everything together, like I was saying before, to really present like a full artistic statement.
Well, and that's kind of cool. And now when you guys go out on tour, are you just bringing CDs with you, or will you have any of the vinyl?
We'll have a limited amount of vinyl. I think the pre-orders have been doing really well. Mm-hmm. We're getting whatever stock that Metal Blades can kind of part with. So I don't know if it'll last for the entire tour, but right. Certainly we'll have vinyl for as long as we have it until we run out.
Well, there you go. And Dave, you'd mentioned that Great Is Our Sin is a new chapter for the band. How so?
Well, with having Ash in the band, that's a new chapter for us, and that's sort of mainly what I was referring to. Anytime you get a new member, with their own sort of playing style and their own approach to music, it can kind of add just a different element to your sound. And Ash is really great at maintaining the core elements that were there, but also bringing his own style to the band. So that's sort of a new chapter for us. And just in general, I think every record we put out, we get that much closer to defining ourselves and to making our to trying to create a unique voice with our music. So I think Great Is Our Sin is, to me, and I think to everyone in the band, it's our favorite record that we've ever done to date. So we're looking forward to playing these new songs live, and who knows what the next record is going to sound like, but I'm sure it will be carrying down more on this path. I feel like we've been on like a really strong aesthetic path since the Deathless record, and with Great Is Our Sin, I think it's an even stronger follow-up.
Okay, well, there you guys go. Great Is Our Sin releases July 22nd off of Metal Blades Records, and you could also check out Revocation at this year's Summer Slaughter, and if you want a vinyl, you better be at one of those first shows.
Get them while they're hot.
Get them while they're hot. And Dave, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us here tonight.
Thank you so much, Jet. Really appreciate it.